on, everybody? Did y'all miss me? I miss y'all. I posted a video Sunday, but I didn't do anything. Wait a minute, what's today? This Wednesday? I posted a video Monday, right? Went to Monday, yeah, but I didn't do anything Tuesday, and now it's Wednesday. But we're back. We're back. The Working People's Podcast, and I got a special dear friend, my sister, the one, the only, the incomparable. Come on, Carolyn Witcher is in the house. Y'all don't even understand. The incomparable. Say, well, who are you talking about?
Exactly.
Carolyn Witcher is on the Working People's Podcast, man. And you're gonna have to, you know, I can introduce you, but then you might get embarrassed because you're like, oh my God, he's giving me all these glowing comments and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you kind of just share whatever you like to share about yourself, just to kind of tell people who you are. And we're gonna kind of get into the reasons why I asked, if you would join on the podcast tonight for this special topic on the mythology of the rich. But y'all make sure y'all press that subscribe button on YouTube. If you are watching via YouTube, press the subscribe button. The podcast is only about 2 weeks old now. And also share the video, press that notification. Come on, ring the bell. Ring the bell so you'll get notified. Yeah. And if you're right here on Facebook watching live stream, then you make sure that you also drop some comments below. Press that heart or the thumbs up button. Share this video. Share it. I'm telling y'all right now, what we about to talk about tonight, a lot of y'all gonna be able to identify with some of this stuff. But
yeah.
Carolyn, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little something about yourself?
Well, my name is Carolyn Witcher, and I reside here in the state of Michigan. Flint Buck. You call me a Flint Buck person. But nevertheless, what we're going to kind of be hitting on tonight is we're going to talk about, like you said, the mythology of the rich. Am I correct? Is that?
Yeah, that's close enough. I put the mythology of being rich, but that ain't what I said a minute ago. But the mythology of being rich is just some ideals that we have about, that the whole ideal, and it's just, I think it's a little off. Mm-hmm. Hey, did you tell everybody that you also do a live broadcast yourself? Come on, tell us about it.
I am the CEO and broadcast director of ICBS Radio, internet radio station that is heard all over the world. I shout out to everybody that listens in and subscribe to that. Become a subscriber today, and we'll put that in the link later. I've been doing that for years and years and years. I was started a gospel DJ. I don't know if they still call them that any longer.
I don't know.
Some years, 20 years ago, actually. It'll be 21 years in October. And so I still do that. And I love the ICBS radio, and I love all of the broadcasters that are on. And you also can be a part of that. And of course, I've had Brother James many times.
Yes.
It's about that time again.
It is.
Testimony is absolutely astounding. And I've seen him go through the growth of what he even talks about on today. So it's really true. It's not like he's on this broadcast just talking to be talking or doing it for likes. He's doing it for the knowledge of those present and those that are to come. So this is going to be an awesome broadcast tonight. But I also my paid job.
Come on now.
I work at Flint Memorial Park Cemetery in Mount Morris, Michigan.
Yes.
And with that, I am a family service counselor. And I just don't deal with the cemetery. I don't bury people, but I go through the process that the family has to go through of burying their loved ones.
Yes.
Whether it's traditionally or whether it's cremation and things like that. So right now, I still need you to go ahead and click that like button and subscribe button, because this is going to be some information that you either know or that you heard, never act on it, but we're going to bring forth some things. So we want to go ahead and get into it. And ask your questions in the comments.
Yes, please.
So we'll be able to get back with you. And also, all those of you that are on Facebook, y'all know how to reach me. Just about everybody know how to reach me. So
y'all gonna definitely recognize his face. Several people gonna be like, "Oh, that's You know Carolyn? Yeah, I know Carolyn. We go back since I've been here in Michigan.
Yes, indeed. So let's
so
get this thing
so let's get
started.
it. So look here. First thing right off the top, one of the biggest mythologies I think is that people just automatically assume that all wealthy or rich people are happy, that money makes you happy. And there's a quote that I read probably months ago that I've just adopted kind of in my own personal life. And it basically says that the pursuit of happiness is the errand of fools. Because if you're not happy within, if you're not happy with yourself, with your life, you can go chasing it and other stuff, especially in this conversation, money, and you're not going to find it. I know some people think that it's going to just make their life, it's going to change everything. Anyway, I don't want to get on a rant. Carolyn, what do you think about that? Especially coming from the field that you do and you see people on all levels of the economic spectrum. Does money really do anything in terms of improving a person's joy and happiness, in your opinion?
Well, if I had to rate it on 1 to 10, I would say half. And the reason why I would say half, because as I don't know if you heard the old people would say, yeah, Carolyn got this job and it's making 6 figures or whatever, even though that ain't the case. And so now she's, she thinks she all this and all that and all this. Carolyn probably worked hard to get to where she is.
Yes.
She probably worked hard, and she knew that was part of not just a dream, but a part of her goals. And so she reached some of her goals,
yes,
in life. She probably didn't reach it at the age that she wanted to reach it at. But at least she reached it. She reached that goal. Maybe she's married. Maybe she has that 2.1 children with a white fence and things like that. But her job had afforded her to get there. But before she had it, she either had to go to college. She probably had to work the night job, 2 jobs. Husband had to work a job. Everybody had to build each other up as far as finances are concerned for that household. And she was happy getting there. And then when she got there, it even helped her be more happy because she was already happy before she got there. She had to build her self-esteem. She had to build her livelihood. She had to build on all of these things. But what about the Carolyn that said, you know what? She wants it to fall in her lap. She didn't work to get there. So then she came into these 6 figures. Maybe as in the field that I'm in, I've seen people die and leave millions of dollars in life insurance policies to one person. And then as time has progressed, that person wasn't happy with the money that they got because one, they squandered it. And then, then they were in the same miserable state they were in before they got the millions. So I said all that to say, yes, only maybe half that I see. And then not just in the working field that I'm in, but just in life in general. I've seen people, I've came across people that came from absolutely $0 and working minimum wage job to having 6 figures. And they were just as miserable when they got the 6 figures as they were when they were working a minimum wage job. Then, like you said, it really comes from the inside, because how can you manage? How can you obtain a substantial amount of happy living, like going on trips or buying a home or buying cars or something like that? So I believe richness, and this is just for me, I think it's more so of an emotion. Once you have come from nothing to something, and then that's one thing. But if you come from something to something, that's one thing. So I would think being rich is more so as an emotion, because it does change your attitude sometimes, and some people don't change them at all because they were already, as you say, they were already content or happy.
Absolutely,
with where
already
they
happy.
were. So they knew what to do, and they didn't squander their money. They didn't just go buy. I'm going to buy little Bam Bam a 2023 Challenger so he can wreck it.
Bam Bam.
Yeah.
So we went back to the Flintstones.
Hello. For real.
It's so true though. So true.
Just getting something that he can, drive to school or work, and something, because Bam Bam got that charger and just went crazy. He don't come home on time any longer. He doesn't meet his curfew. His grades didn't fail. All kinds of stuff. So
Have you ever read the book, The Millionaire Next Door? Did you ever read that book? And in this book, they talk about something called economic outpatient care. Is where the parents work hard, they get to a certain level, they earn a certain level of wealth, and they worked for it. They put the work in, they got the investments, but then they started, giving, just basically helping to support financially their children. When we're, in this case, we're talking about adult children and their families, and providing this economic outpatient care. And quite often it doesn't help them because they really haven't worked for it. They haven't had to put the same level of intense grind, and they haven't really had to sacrifice to get what they're just getting handed to them from the hard sweat, hard work, getting it out of the mud that their parents had to do. And because of that, they don't appreciate it. And because of that, it's difficult oftentimes for either that next generation or maybe another generation down the road to really appreciate what's being given to them, because they really ain't putting the work in to have to earn it, And so if you don't really deal with just being content and being happy and understanding who you are. And I need to throw this in here, because when we hear people that come on here about they're in certain particular fields or they work in certain areas, Sister Carolyn here and my sister Deidre, my friend Deidre, these are two of the hardest working women I have ever met in my entire life. I mean, 24, I don't even know if they sleep. These are two of the hardest working women. They got their hands, their feet. Sister Carolyn, I ain't telling you, but she's involved in community stuff. She is a very extremely hardworking woman. But one thing that we need to understand, that I want you all to know, is with that, when they're working, they are fulfilling their purpose. It's different in doing something just to earn money. And that's what a lot of people do. They want to be rich, so they just do something, whatever they can do that's paying the most, that earns the most money, so they can just get the money. But they haven't really found their purpose. And when you're working in your purpose, it's a different story altogether. That's where the happiness comes along on the journey of acquiring the things that you get, not just getting them. There's no shortcuts to the finish line. And if you do shortcut the process, you're really not going to appreciate what you get once you cross that finish line. If you get what you are aspiring to get, you're not going to appreciate it if you circumvent the system or circumvent the process and you don't go through the process. It's the joy and the happiness comes on the journey and the pitfalls and having anyway. But Carolyn, you said something that I want to make sure that we hang our hat on, is when you talked about how people don't understand that they have to make sure that they are, how did you put it? They have to make sure that they are doing what they have to do to get what they want. They have to be working for it. Can you go into a little bit more detail? Because I know it's kind of vague, even the things I just said about working for it. Exactly what does that look like?
And well, I'll say this. You know how you just expound on how I work hard? I do. I work hard, and I am nowhere near, especially financially, of where I believe that I should be, or even where I want to be. But I'm rich in knowledge, a lot of rich. I know sometimes knowledge may not pay a bill, but it'll help me figure out how to pay that bill. And then when I think about some the people that have worked hard, like say, have you I don't know if you guys remember I'll say it like this: the Jeffersons. Remember the Jeffersons? How they came from nothing. And George always talks about, we came from nothing. We came from paper sacks to this, and now I got this money, and he buying stuff that he don't need, like that big piano that he bought that was too big to do anything with, and he didn't know how to play a piano. He just bought it because he thought it would impress the people that he was inviting over. And how Louise kept a level head.
Yes,
but he was always into something else. He was always over the top in everything that he did. And she said, well, I don't want to forget where I came from. Yes, we worked hard to get where we are, but money hasn't changed me, because I'm still, I could use the same emotions, the same feelings, things that I have with the money that I did if I didn't have the money. And sometimes when our and we'll go back to Bam Bam, getting the charger. And Bam Bam, when Bam Bam grow up, and Bam Bam feel, well, I don't have to work because my mama gonna take care of me, my daddy gonna take care of me. Because now, I don't know about you, but I know people my age, younger and older. I know people literally, I've seen it, in their 70s and have this sense of entitlement from what their parents have done, and have not taught them anything about finances, putting away that dollar or that 2 pennies or whatever it was, because they were the ones that actually worked to obtain those finances. And then so they're the first generation. They were the first generation that went to college. They're the first generation that became doctors or lawyers or what have you.
Right.
So the children didn't have to do that because they spoiled them, because they didn't want them to go through what they had to go through. So then that generation didn't really want to work as hard. Now, I'll give you 2 scenarios where one generation didn't want to work as hard. This family A, dad to pay for it, mama pay for it. Oh, I live off dad's money. Oh, I got married. Now I got my family. Like you said, they paying
economic outpatient care.
Bills.
Yep.
And the grandkids see that the mom don't work. Dad got a piece of a job if he feel like going, because really he's walking around with a title that doesn't pay any bills. But her parents or his parents is paying for it. Then family B is where they said, well, he said, well, I was a doctor, a lawyer. Now my daughter's going to be a doctor, or lawyer, but they still had to work to get there. So those generational wealth that passes down, from a sense of being entitled to those that saying they're going to work for it, because then that's, as some people call, old money. Right. Old money goes a longer way than new money.
You better talk about it. You better talk about it now.
Yes. We just get it, and we get it for this particular time. We just get it because I want this charger. I want this nice house. Did you hear about the rapper? And I mean, I'm not a whole big thing about all this stuff, but I was listening to a broadcast that was coming on in the morning. They talk about the young lady that paid $6 million for a home. Cash.
That's a lot of money.
It's like, why? So she has no agent, she has no accountant, she has nobody, leading or guiding her in the right way. Because if you have that, I understand you want to pay for it, you want to own it. That's good, but gradually get it there, because you may not have that rap money next year.
Right.
It's gonna pay the taxes on that house.
Right.
Gonna pay for the upkeep of that house.
Yep.
None of those things. So, and then, okay, you balling and you want to look like you balling, but boo, that mug will be on the market come tomorrow. Then I'll downgrade where my house will look like it's $6 million, but it's only maybe a $1 million or $2 million. And then I gradually, I said that about this young lady. I don't know who she is, but then vice versa, I think about Missy Elliott. Now, if you listen to Missy Elliott's story, how she's saying, look, my money got to last me.
Right.
It got to last me into my old years.
Yes.
Because I don't know if she has a new album out or anything like that. And I don't know anything about this other young lady that paid $6 million for a house. But Missy Elliott has investments that grow for her. She has a home in 2 or 3 different states, but she has investment property as well. I guarantee you, this lady just took the $6 million and invested it in that house.
Quite possibly.
Has no residuals or anything like that coming from that.
Quite possibly. And a lot of people are house rich. Now, when I throw these 2 terms out here, right, these 2 numbers, quite often I'm not just coming up with something that's, if it's a theory of mine, I will say this is a James Hollingsworth theory. Okay. And there's some things that in the future I'm going to share as some ideals and things that may be a little bit specific to me per se. But for example, in the book, The Millionaire Next Door, that's why I talk about it a lot, because it was one of the biggest, most comprehensive studies that was done. It was a 30-year study that was done on rich people that became wealthy in one generation. No athletes, no famous movie stars, nobody who got an inheritance, just people who became wealthy in one generation through their hard work. And one of the things they said in that book was that because they studied every kind of thing, what kind of credit cards they had, how they buy houses, how they buy the cars. And one thing that they said that they did, that the people overwhelmingly do, proportionately do, is they don't spend more than 2 times their annual income on a home. So when I personally bought my home here, that was the model that I followed. Did I qualify for more? Absolutely. But if this is something that rich people do and have done, and this study solidifies a lot of their spending habits and how they purchase make purchases. I thought that was great advice. So I adopted that years ago, that philosophy. So when I bought this house, I said, I am not buying a house that's more than 2 times my annual income. And then I saw another, I watched several videos, on some people that were talking about how much do you need to live on. And they kind of use a general rule in this one particular case. The guy said, well, if you do have millions, you got to understand that money still has to last and it still has to have growing and earning potential, right? So there are distribution rules that you can use. I'm not going to get into that. But in terms of buying a house, one guy said that 20% of your wealth or whatever, your cash value, whatever, 20% on a house, 10% on a car. So if you have $5 million, what's 20% of 5 million? Help me out, somebody. I don't do math in my head.
100. You said 20%.
So a 5 million. So 10% of 5 million will be 500,000, right?
Okay.
And then 20%. So that'd be what? $1 million, right? So $1 million, if my math is right. Y'all help me out in the comment section.
You're right.
So $1 million. So $1 million on a house and 10% on a car. So whatever that'd be 500,000 will be what you should probably cap in terms of what you should drop on a car, because that money still has to last you, especially if you're talking about having some left over to pass to your next generation, right?
Because the things come along with that. You still have to have car insurance, house insurance, maintenance on all of those things.
Yes. I mean, maintenance on a Chevy ain't the same as maintenance on a Bugatti or maintenance on a Porsche, you know what I'm saying? Oil changes or maintenance on some high price ticket purchase, a Porsche. So you got to understand, you ain't going to go down to Jiffy Lube and get your oil changed on your 911 Porsche or on your Bugatti. No. And you ain't going to go over to, what's the name of the tire shop, Bell Tire, and get the tires replaced or get your tires patched on a vehicle like that. There are certain vehicles like that require an annual maintenance schedule. Oh Lord. So hey, have you ever heard the scripture about the I wrote it down. It's in Ecclesiastes 10:19. It says that wine, let me read it. A feast is made for laughter, wine makes life merry, but money answereth all things. Have you ever heard that scripture?
Money.
You ever heard some? Yeah, money answereth all things. In fact, there was a preacher down in Texas. I'm not going to say his name, but that was his thing at one time. Money answers and money comes and all of this stuff. But that scripture, a lot of times, the prosperity preachers, right?
Yeah, those used to be so high. The maybe 20, 25 years, maybe about 5 years ago, when they see that the prosperity preacher really wasn't working.
Yeah, it wasn't working. It wasn't yielding them long-term results, right? And so when they start quoting this scripture, people all over start saying, oh, yeah, money answereth all things. Okay, read your Bible. I'll say it all the time. Read your whole Bible. Read your Bible and interpret it. Do an exegesis on the scripture and go into the original language and see what it's saying. Because if you just take it in our English language and take it for face value, you'll misunderstand and misinterpret it. It didn't say money answered all things in terms of it in terms of it solves all problems. Right. No. If you look in the original text in the language, it says it's a response. It's a response. So you could use money to respond to a particular problem. Yes, you could use money to respond to a particular issue. Now, it may not solve the issue. It may just be part of the resolution to the problem. But in the original text of that scripture, when it says money answereth all things, it's saying that money is a response. So you do get some benefits out of having it, especially just day-to-day living, paying your bills, right? And the more of it that you have, the more stuff that you can do. You can get extra cable and you can, buy a better car. You can buy a nicer home, so it does provide solutions and answers, but it does not solve every problem in terms of whatever happens, you just throw some money at it and that's going to stick on the wall and everything goes away. No, some things money ain't going to solve, right? So if you do something stupid and you get yourself in a legal problem, I don't care how, I know some people think that, oh, they got money, they rich, they got
bought
out.
yourself out.
Money don't get you off for everything.
So
Because
don't.
some rich folk that still got hemmed up no matter how much money they had, and they went to prison. They had to pay restitutions. So I'm just saying, you better what's that saying? Say you better catch yourself before you wreck yourself, or something like. How that go?
Hear about that as well. I did
What?
hear about that. Well, it is, and you're right. It's according to how you use that scripture. It's really
Yeah.
pertained to each person individually, um, because it may answer a lot of questions, but then it may solve some problems. Then sometimes it bring about problems because I know people say, like I said, if whomever person A coming to $1 million, somebody's jealous of that person and they'll knock them off. They'll kill them.
Yes, it
And
can
person
cause some
B coming
problems.
to it, that person B, like the lottery. You know, they have the Michigan lottery,
And
Powerball.
one of the biggest things, like what you about hit on now, is when you're not responsible enough and you haven't really honed your management skills of it. If you come into too much money, yeah, it's gonna cause a lot of problems for you.
Yes, 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 because somebody else is going to try to figure out the answer or the solution to how they can have what you have, and may not take it, take it lightly. That, well, how did she get that, or how did he get that, and why didn't it happen to me? And oh yeah, I'm his buddy, or I'm their cousin, because people come out of the woodwork when you have a couple of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Now, along with that, one thing that I believe is a myth. Oh, I said the word right because that's one word I have trouble saying. Myth
Okay.
is the assumption that only wealthy people should hire professionals. Like, no, only what wealthy people should hire accountants, or only wealthy people should hire, financial advisors. Look, if you have a job and you're working and you have any type of earned income, and it's above minimum wage, you should sit down with a professional to ask them about investments and ask them about, they can help you set up a plan. They can help you set up a budget.
Definitely. Dr. David Mosley, he's on Facebook as well, but Mosley's Incorporated, and if I needed something, I would go to him, and I have an accountant. I'm sure she don't mind me saying her name, Marlene Curtis, downtown.
Come on. Hey, Marlene.
I've had her for some years because she helped me navigate some things, in order to say, especially when you deal with taxes. She's my tax accountant. So it's like dealing with some things that that she helps me with. And then she has her advertisement, and it's for anyone. It's not just for, like, this is somebody that's making a little bit beyond minimum wage. She's for everyone. And Dr. Mosley is for everyone. And there are people that will love to share the information that they have, in order for you to just do better, because some people come and they don't know how to manage the 90% that's left after they get their money. They don't know how to manage that.
You can
they don't know
focus
how to pay
better.
They don't know how to, suggest, like, buy a car, buy a house. They don't know that things. They don't have any money saved in order to put down. So these people can at least lead you in the right direction to say, hey, what about this, that, and the other? They will point you in the right direction. Then some people are self-taught, so you can self-teach yourself, but it takes a whole lot of willpower and a whole lot of money control in order to do that, and a whole lot of working people's podcasts that you need to watch.
Tell me about it.
It can happen. I want to keep the little pieces of pennies that I have. I don't want them to be wandered away.
Unless you sitting down reading books and keeping up with all the tax changes, through each administration, and how that's what we hire professionals for, to keep up with tax changes and keep up with rules on IRA contributions and all that different stuff. You could do it on your own, but I'd rather be focusing on earning money and doing what I do, making sure that you keep your business running. Because, Carolyn, you got a job that you follow, you get a W-2 on, right? But you also, with your ICBS, that's your business.
Yep.
And and if you're going to run it and have time to devote to making sure that you are doing, come on, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I mean, and that's why I trust Marlene.
Yes.
Curtis. That's why I trust her, in that forum. And then if you are a part of Mr. Mosley's, his organization is things, he posts so much information on Facebook. It ain't even funny and it's for anyone that can just have a level and open mind. And as you
Yes.
say, yes, I pay her to do these things for me, because any hiccups that come up,
Yes.
I'm looking at her,
Right.
saying like, okay, what should we do, or how can we go about this, or so forth and so on. And she's local, and I can make that appointment, go down there with her, or call her, or email, or what have you.
Yes.
But yes, I would rather have someone that is more knowledgeable financially for me about my
Yes.
IRAs, about my 401k. Should I move it? Should I leave it there? Should I let
Yes.
somebody else manage that? What should I do? About the credit, even the credit union that I deal with.
Come on
Whether if
now.
I'm buying a house, or whether if I'm buying a car, or even because people, I don't know if somebody ever came to you before and asked you to co-sign for something. You like, well,
Oh,
my card is in it. Maybe I should do it. I'm like, girl, this child's credit is a 620, and mine is a 820.
don't do it, Miss Seeley. Don't do it.
And yeah, they need it really, really bad. Da, da, da. You can't always go with your heart, because your heart will tear your finances
Man, look
apart.
at here. Your heart would.
So,
Somebody put that in the chat. If you write that in the chat, your heart will tear your finances apart.
you will.
Put that in the chat.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that's the quote for the day. That's the quote for the week. Your heart.
Yes.
Oh my
So
God.
I mean, these, like you said, these people are here, to benefit us. So we should use them. We should use them.
Yes.
And some people don't have enough knowledge or willpower in order to do it themselves. So yes, I
Mm-hmm.
will hire someone else.
I mean, I've been saying it for a few videos now. For the last 5+ years, going on 6 years now, I hired a financial advisor who is on a monthly retainer. I pay him a monthly retainer, and they take care of everything. And right now, we're about to wrap up my stuff that me and you are about to get into right now. We're about to wrap up my estate plan, wrap up my trust, and all of that's getting wrapped up. Next week should be we should be signing the documents probably by next week. So let's get into that. Now that's your whoo. Are y'all ready for this? What you gonna do when you die? Sister Carolyn is gonna she about to drop some knowledge on you. Folk end up dying, passing away, not taking care of their things like they need to. Carolyn, you tell us how that looks when you die and you ain't taking care of your stuff, your paperwork, and handle certain things legally.
Okay.
Oh Lord. And how long you been doing this? How long you been doing this as a family counselor through the funeral services?
2013.
2013.
Yes.
Because I know one time you called me and I thought you was about to start crying. I put you on the prayer list at church. I was like, she going through. It was during COVID, and you was seeing an abundant amount of people, and it was you was stressing, and you was working what, 6 days a week?
Yeah, 7
days a
I'm
week.
still working them many days. I'm still working at many days. I can count how many days I've had off this year.
So why is it important for people to get their stuff together? I mean, legally, documents together. What does it look like when they don't?
Okay, a hot mess. It's terrifying. It's
terrifying.
It's terrifying, because I do the beginning part. I'm a family service counselor, so I take care of some things before there's a death. I prefer to do that before somebody passed. And then I work with you during the situation.
So wait a minute, you telling me that you need to put stuff in place before you pass, so we won't have to, folk won't have to figure it out after you gone?
Of course.
What? What does that look like?
It's not a black thing, or a white thing, or a Mexican thing, or a Chinese thing. It's something, period, that we should do.
And you shouldn't wait till you get rich to do this.
No. And I tell people that act funny. Well, I'm gonna leave it to my kids. Well, what is your children's financial stability right now? Oh, she has a good job, or he has. I said, well, what if they don't have a job before you pass? Or what if they haven't saved any money because they went and bought that house, or they bought that car, or they say, you know what, I'm gonna take this money. I'm not gonna take care of mama if something happened to her, because really, in my adult mindset, I'm hoping that my mama already took care of this before I had to take care of it.
Right.
But yes, family planning, family estate planning, trust. Power of attorney, doable power of attorney. I would, if some people don't have families, I understand that. Some people don't. And so, well, I'll just talk about this particular part. Yes, you should take care of things before you transition. That's a must, whether you have children or not. I'll put it like this: before you move out of your parents' house at the age of 18 or the age of 21, I would always I would talk to my parents. Yes, I'm moving out and I'm moving into a different environment. I think I'm grown. I'm moving on my own, stuff like that. But let's have a conversation about the what if. What if I'm 21 years old? I'm in my second year of college. I just got a job. I just graduated with my associate's degree, and I have something that I'm doing in my major. It's like you said, just bringing a check. So how should I manage my household once I leave the household that I've been a part of since I was born?
Yes.
So I would just, even if you think mom and daddy don't know nothing, ask. Just ask. I'm sure they may be able to drop some old nuggets or some old wisdom, your way. Son, when you leave here, I'm not helping you pay your bills at your house and bills at my house. Okay. So the finances that you get, you're probably going to have college tuition bills that you took out loans or whatever.
Yep.
You have to have a place to live. You have a car. You have all these things. And sometimes before you leave, talk about, do my parents still have life insurance on me? Most of them do.
So I want to ask you a couple specific questions, and if you are at liberty to give like some general examples. I know we're not going to be giving people's names and families and not like right, but some general examples. So have you seen some scenarios where somebody passed away? Everybody start trying to decide who gonna do what, who gonna control what, who gonna take over. And has this been times where it's kind of maybe kept the person out of the grave a little bit longer?
Oh, perhaps yes, months. I think the longest I've seen somebody.
You say months?
Months. The longest I've seen someone not buried is, thank God this person ended up being cremated, but maybe I want to say a year and 3 months.
So you telling me because they didn't have stuff in place and everybody started acting a fool afterwards, this person with probate and everything, they stayed out of the ground, stayed stored away somewhere for a year and 3 months.
Yep, but that was a cremation one. For the one that was traditional, he was full body just like I am, not cremated. Right. I want to say that was about 10 months.
10 months.
10 months in a freezer.
I guess that will prolong the grieving process, won't it?
Here in Michigan.
Right, here in Michigan. 10 months, a traditional burial, 10 months because they had to go through probate and all this other stuff, figuring stuff out. And with a cremated person, a year and 3 months.
Yes, and mostly because they didn't have the money. The person that died had the money. The person that died had insurance. The person that died had a bank account. The person that died, had an estate.
Right, but what they didn't do? He didn't name nobody.
No, he didn't put nobody in charge. No next of kin. His wife passed, and then the thing about it is, even his wife was the beneficiary, and she died. So people that it was like second cousins coming up,
and that went to probate. So you think the state got a little bit of that money?
The state got quite a bit of money because Michigan is one of the 5 states that operate that way.
Yep.
If there's nothing set up, this had to go to probate. So the second cousins had to set up and had to get a probate lawyer, prove that they were the next blood relatives and all this kind of stuff. And so they did it for the things. They didn't even focus on, hey, maybe I should put this charge card down so that little Willie can get buried and we can get this done and we'll take care of the estate later. No, they wanted they didn't want to come out of a dime out of their own pocket. They didn't want to do any of those things. They wanted his estate to pay for it. Then they get what was left from the estate. But if they had a thought, like I said, well, you don't have a credit card, you can't go out a loan, you can't, do this to get him buried, because once he's buried, it's considered a final disposition.
Yes.
But actually, cremation is the final.
So I'm gonna throw in my opinion, and you tell me what you think based on all the things that you've seen, and we're gonna talk about some more scenarios here too. This just my opinion. The number one concern of any financial plan should be what we're talking about now. It should be one of the things that is at the top of the list that should get done. That's my opinion. But it is often the most neglected thing, and it's the thing that never gets done. We pursue after the wealth. We want to be investors. We want to build generational wealth. We want to do all this stuff, but we don't protect ourselves properly with insurance. And then we typically don't have any type of estate plan or any type of wills, trust, or anything in place. I talked to my financial advisor yesterday because we were talking about wrapping this thing up that we're doing. And he was like talking to me like he's proud of me. Remember, we've been working together going on 6 years now. So we've kind of developed, he knows what I want. He knows my goals. He's always, making sure that it's a level of accountability too with it, right? But he was telling me that what I'm doing is something that it seemed to be the older people get, they put it off. So have you seen families fighting when they come and everybody all of a sudden try to go, you go ahead. You tell me. I'm talking about straight throwing blows where you have to call the police.
Yeah. And people that know me and and when I do conversations about family estate planning or wills, because I also prompt you to get a will. I also prompt you to talk about these things, talk about a will, talk about a trust, talk about all these things. I just tell them the truth. And I say, well, do you remember what happened in such and such? Yeah. And I tell them, and these don't be stories. These are truths that I tell them.
Yes.
Where I've seen the fighting.
And we talking about church people.
Any people, saved, unsaved, whatever, atheists, whatever, they all fight. As long as you got some fists, as long as you got a mouth, they all fight. And then they start at home, or they start at the hospital where the person has passed.
Yes.
They start at the hospital, then they go to the funeral home, then they come to the cemetery, acting a nut, acting very
Go and say it, Carolyn, because I know when me and you talking, you don't be holding nothing back. You be telling me everything. You be talking about he threw a right jab, he hit the dude in the eye, his eye socket fell out, and then the other lady grabbed the lady by the wig and pulled her wig. You be telling me the details, so you ain't gotta hold that back.
Before they even get out of the car at the grave site, yes. And then the thing about it is, most of them, and I'll say this, and no disrespect, but y'all come out there disrespecting everything. Y'all disrespecting deceased person. I put it like this. Yeah, I disrespecting dead because you're acting up because, well, that was mama's or that was daddy's. So if it was mama's or daddy's, now it's mine. And mom and daddy may not have no money, no licks to rub together. It could be she wanted me to have that fur, or she wanted me to have that red hat.
Yes.
Or I've seen people by the time they get out to the cemetery, I'm thinking it's supposed to be a big, large amount of people. They have crossed out of the funeral procession and went to the house and then cleaned it out before everybody else then got to the house.
What? You ain't never told me that. Wait. So you telling me folk will skip the burial and sneak over to the house and clean the house out?
You better believe it. You better believe it. You better believe it. Or and it's a lady. She had this on Facebook, and I'll never forget. She had millions and millions of viewers, but she's right to a point. She's definitely right. Say, because I come from a large family, and I have a sister that's over there assisting as far as my mom and her health and things like that. But say if I lived out of state and it was that one child there taking care of mom and daddy and stuff like that, and then when mom and daddy passed or grandma passed, then everybody want to come up, but everybody want to have a say. But where was you at saying before this person passed, stuff like that? But back to that a lot of people hold that grudge or that like I said, a sense of entitlement, and then they'll do things like that, or like I said, cross the funeral line because I don't want Moo to have a house, even though Moo been living there for 20 years with mom and daddy. I don't want them to have it, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and that's why I find it very important. When my husband passed in 2003, he died in December. By March, I had my stuff done. I had my stuff. I had my will, because if he could die at 40, I could die right behind him.
Wow.
So and I had toddlers, so I didn't want anything like that to happen. I saw what was going on in my instance about people talking about, oh, well, I want the fry cooker, or I want the grill. People, they want things of the person that has deceased. But even like I said, the family planning or estate planning, even list stuff like that. It might not be much to you, but it might mean something to little James. James might have wanted that ring that grandma left, or the things, So it's so much. Then I hope I'm not just moving all around, but it's so much.
No, you're not. You're talking about it.
The very urgency of it to plan your things before you leave here. Life insurance, you have your medical advocacy.
Yes.
All those things. I mean, I could talk for hours about things, because those things may not be worth a lot of money to people, but they're worth a lot emotionally. That's why I say rich is an emotion.
Yes.
Because you're going to either act like you done lost your mind, or you're going to do like 50 Cent did, took that $10,000 and become a millionaire. What do you, what are you going to do? And what are you leaving behind? If you're not leaving anything behind but things, even put that in the will.
So you remember when I called you last year about some things I needed to get some information about the headstone from my mother. My mother passed away last year, and just to give you a brief, example, I have 3 siblings. I'm the only son, only boy. Mom used to always call me her favorite son, but I'm the only one. And I have 3 sisters, 2 older sisters and 1 younger sister. So my mother had placed me as the beneficiary on her policy to handle certain things. But I'm in Michigan. My mother had moved down to Georgia to be closer to my younger sister and her family, right? To be down there as a support system, and also just to be close to her baby girl. But being down there in Georgia, that was the only family now. And she got connected with a church and started meeting some new people and friends and stuff. But that was not where she had lived the bulk of her life. And she did that when she was older. She was like in her 60s when she moved from St. Louis down to Georgia. But Mom had me on her bit as the beneficiary of the policy. She had my sister on her credit cards, on her bank accounts. So that stuff she can handle. And then my 2 sisters in St. Louis, when we had my mom shipped back to St. Louis because we wanted her to be buried right in the same cemetery where our dad is, where our father's at, my 2 sisters handled a lot of the business face to face with the funeral home, with the grave site, with, the people that are face to face contact. And we worked very well together. We had enough money left over from the policy to put some things down on it for her headstone. But, there was a little bit more that we needed to come up with. So we all split that cost, on top in order to get the headstone that we wanted to reflect, our mother and say what we wanted. So we did that. But as far as her expenses, the policy was enough to care for that. Mom had everything in order. I was like, that's the legacy. She had everything in order. And we knew Mom's heart. So a lot of her stuff was given away in terms of her hats and her furniture, and things like that. And everything was taken care of. And it inspired me so much because I get a lot of my ways when it comes to money from my mom. I'm extremely frugal. Some people say I'm cheap. And then I got another friend to say, well, you cheap, but at the same time, you bougie. Like, oh no. Anywho. But it just even prompted me, like you said, when your husband passed away, I need to get some things, make sure that I get some things in place so that I can follow that legacy in terms of my mother, that she had everything in order. They found a wooden box where she kept things in. She had an article from when Martin Luther King was assassinated from 1968. So she had everything just in order and organized, and my sister just made certain calls for in terms of the credit cards because she already had her names on those things to close out certain business and accounts and stuff. Everything was just seamless and easy to do. So, like, another thing, like, have you seen? I don't know why I'm thinking of stuff like this, but have you seen situations where, because people wasn't named, all of a sudden other children and family members be popping up out of nowhere, like that's his son, he got another 3 kids? Have you seen stuff like that? And now that's a I'm sorry, I don't mean.
I admit there are some families And when I say I applaud their families, in my heart, it just overwhelmed with joy when things go as smooth as like you and your siblings.
Yes.
To me, that or the parent to say before something happens, oh, well, my kids know what to do, and I get along with them and they get along with me. But that's it. I'll tell them flat out.
Ooh.
Death and divorce are the two major emotions that nobody wants to go through.
And we don't prepare for, we don't plan for.
And we don't. No, because we don't plan to get a divorce.
Right.
We don't plan to die. We're going to die. So divorce, but death is inevitable.
Yes.
So I applaud you and your siblings for doing that, and I do. I love it. It makes my heart and my job, because I don't want to say job, my position so much more easy, so much easier. But then I do see them to where, like I said, I wasn't telling the story. I've seen where the person had passed on, wrote no one's name down, as far as anything. His wife was already deceased, and she had been deceased for some time, and that was his only real beneficiary, not thinking maybe she would pass before him, because sometimes people come across that myth, well, the man goes first. Not always.
Not always. Yeah.
Not always. And so then you have these, like I said, second cousins coming out of nowhere, and they figure, oh, well, let me try to figure out how I can get in with this. Oh, can I get a copy of this out of the file? No, you cannot.
Right. So
I've seen so many people have that accountant, have that financial advisor. They, say, well, and then it's part of the will or part of the trust.
Right.
Well, if this person can't do it, let this person do it. If this person died before this person, I've seen them in detail.
Yes.
In details where they have went from the minuscule. If this person can't do it, if this person precedes me, if this person, I mean, literally list 5 people. Yeah. If this person can't do it, if this person can't do it, I see them do it. And so, as I said,
and everything just is a lot smoother when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just seamless.
Yeah, and I tell people, I said, put who you trust. And sometimes if you don't trust anybody, and you may not trust the church, but put the church down. I tell them, and that's sometimes how churches, are able to build. They're building from people's insurance policies and things like that, and and it happens, and I've just, so yes, I've seen people that passed and situations. I want to say people. I've seen situations where people have passed and then left no beneficiary, left no one in charge of anything. And I've seen the chaos. But my position is to say, hey, we can do this, 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 and this. Who do I need to talk to?
Yes. Who do I need to talk to? And you have the resources.
Okay, I can give you this. We can try to, because we want, you still respect that person that passed. You turn it to a circus. It don't have to be. It don't have to be. But it has to be a living next of kin to sign documents.
Yes. Okay.
When somebody passes, especially if they had to be cremated.
Okay, got you.
So
a living next of kin.
A living, of course, a living blood next of kin.
Blood.
Not
okay. Yes.
Kin, because me and you've been best friends for 30 years.
Right.
Unless I make you in writing my next of kin. This is the person that's going to do this, 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 and that.
So if you had to give, like, say, I don't know, can I limit it to 3, or do we need to go like 5? What would be the top things? Is there a progressive order to it when you sit down and you're initially meeting or talking with people, or is it kind of like specific by case? I would assume that would be more likely. But what does it look like? Is it like, if you had to make a recommendation, like this starting tomorrow morning, you need to do A, B, C, or would it be more than like 4, 5, 6 things? You need to do A, B, C, D, and E. What would that list look like? What would be the first thing, and progressively, what should a person do starting tomorrow to make sure that this doesn't happen if they would pass away?
Okay. Well,
I know that's a hard, loaded question. That's loaded.
Yes and no, because it still pertains to the person. Okay, say for instance, you, and then you say, you know what? I'll ask you. I said, Brother James, do you have anything in order? Tell me about your life. Are you married? Not married? Do you have children? Not children? Do you have grandchildren? Tell me about your life. Then that's just the blood part. That is just the relative part. Now tell me about what do you do? So what do you do for a living? What do you do? How much money you make? Da, 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 da. Okay, you have a house, you have a home, you have a car, you have all these. Okay, so we're gonna put all those things together and say, if something happened to you tonight, because here today, gone today, if something happened to you tonight, what do you have in order? Oh, I don't have anything in order. Okay, so let me grab these 2 books real quick. Matter of fact, let me grab 2 books of documents. I'm gonna grab a family planning book. I'm gonna grab this will kit book, and I'm gonna give you the medical advocacy book. Who's gonna be a medical advocate? I said, because the medical advocate really is very important. So they all are important, but the medical advocate, if something was happening to you tonight, who are you gonna have in charge in case you need to be resuscitated? Or you want them to pull the plug? Okay, because as long as you are alive, the person that's the power of attorney, personal representative, those type of people, those people are in charge.
Wow.
You know, those people are in charge. It's aside of the medical advocacy, because they say whoever's going to benefit from your death, don't make them the medical advocacy person. If I say, well, if he kicked the bucket, I'll come into $100,000. So I might as well just pull the plug on him when he's really may live another 4 or 5 years. Okay, and I'm saying all that, and I'm kind of saying it fast. So I'll ask you all these questions. Da 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 da. And I don't have anybody. Da da da. I don't trust nobody. This. And okay. So let's get these documents. Let's open this family planner and say, hey, if you're married, generally the spouse is the next of kin and vice versa. But sometimes it's a blended family.
Yeah, okay.
So I got you.
Blended family.
He may not want to be, she may not have Mexican, it might be the daughter, or vice versa. If it's the wife, she may want the son. She may not want the spouse as the next of kin.
Yes.
Or she may not want, he vice versa. So, you need to list that person. You need to get all this stuff together. You need to write all these things. I don't care if it's you want to leave Carol in the red hat.
Right.
Don't sit up there and take all this information I'm giving you and you put it on the table until something happened or you feel like reading it because you don't want to talk about it. But by you not want to talk about it, you made a valid point. The older we get, the more we put it off.
Yeah. That's what my financial advisor told me yesterday. Yes. He said, I am doing something that it seemed like they try to get people to do, but very little people do it. He's like, and the older people get, the more they put it off.
I feel like that. And plus, I don't charge people for this information. I just want it done because of the things that I've seen. The nightmares that I have encountered, that I come home having a nightmare saying, did that just happen today?
Let's now that you said that, let's address something, because I've heard it 1,000 times from different people on every level of the economic thing. I'm talking about people that make good money and people that's just working an average job. And they'll say something like, well, I ain't planning on leaving nobody nothing. I'm going to enjoy my life and do this and the third. When they pass away, is that even possible? Because they, even though people don't think that they have anything that they really leaving, is that really possible? How does that look like? It'd be the messiest situation, I would assume. Is that
generally
yeah, the person that has that ideal.
Some people just throw up their hands, like say some of the kids, say if it's 3 kids, 4 kids, whatever, or say it's 2 kids. The other one say, "Look, you handle that,"
and they just tell them to figure it out.
I'm trying to keep my relationship with you, so I'm just going to you handle it. Some people just hand it over, but then you have 2 A's.
Two strong personalities.
Then they want to duel. They want to duel till the very end because this person feels they're right, this person feels they're right, or I was mom's favorite, or I was mom's favorite. Da da da. But I don't care. I don't care if you just have a house. Put somebody's name on it. Put one of the kids' name on it. Put both of the kids' name on it. Have some type of order.
Ooh.
Have some type of order.
Y'all, hey, if you're watching this, put that in the chat. Have some type of order.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Or it will become disorder. It will be totally disorganized. And then, and some people say, and I feel, why would you want to do that to your kids or your husband? Like I said, especially if you have a blended family. And he's the head of the household. He was the head of the household when you married him. So why are you making the kids the next of kin?
Wow.
Well, I don't trust Bob. He ain't good with money and stuff like that. He wasn't good with money when you married him.
Oh
So
Lord.
that means you should put some things, y'all, both y'all should come together and put some things in order. And I get a lot of blended families. I get a lot of blended. And I get where, say, you're my son, but I have, and my husband is deceased, you're my son, and I have 3 sisters. The sisters will outweigh you, and know you're the next kid. They will come in and they'll take over.
Especially if they're older.
Yes, they'll take over. They'll just forget all about you, my son. But that was my sister before it was your mama.
Ooh, what folks say that? Oh Lord, y'all about to bring my hood and ghetto up out of me. That's just straight up savage.
And they
That
didn't
is
have to come and get me
savage.
out of the office because my ghetto sometimes has kicked in. I'm like, look, I'm saved, but I ain't crazy. I'm just saying,
oh
wait a
my
minute,
God.
but that's his mother, or that's her mother. Or I've seen it where they overtake the husband or the wife. The siblings will come in and take over. And I say, excuse me, but I'm directing this to her, or I'm directing this to him. Because legally,
aren't you legally obligated to do that though, right? Yes.
I have seen husbands, I've seen parents, because the kids take over from the parents. Oh, I've seen some messy one where the kids take the siblings take over from the kids, or the siblings take over from the parents, and they want to operate and everything. But our point of this whole broadcast, when it gets down to it, put your things in order. I don't care if you think, well, I just got a $10,000 policy, which ain't enough. I'll tell you that right now.
Come on now.
It ain't enough. If you don't know what to do with that $10,000 policy, or what you want your family to do with that $10,000 policy, it's not going to be enough. I tell them flat out.
What would you say should be bare minimum? Bare minimum. Now we're not going to get into the aspects of life insurance because that would be kind of another discussion in terms of talking about how it's supposed to the financial logic behind it, right? If you're sitting down with a financial professional, but just in bare just the scope of, here's Johnny out here living his life out in the streets and he's at risk every day to get himself shot and killed. What's bare minimum? Bare minimum that somebody needs to have to comfortably take care of expenses and manage everything in an appropriate way. Bare minimum.
Comfortably take care of expenses.
Yes.
But to take care of expenses and manage after you've taken care of those
expenses? Because some people don't realize that there's expenses and things that need to be taken care of afterwards. They don't even know that.
20
minimum.
Yeah. And that's if you don't have nothing in order.
Ooh. Oh my. Oh my.
If you don't have anything in order, if you don't have a burial plot, if you don't have the vault open and closed,
right,
or mausoleum, or your stuff done over at the local funeral establishment, 20.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum. Because now, and I know you don't want to get into talking to that, because I could talk all day long about, this 9 years. I'm not a professional. It's women and men that have been in this business way longer than me. And they have seen some things and told me some things, and I've experienced some things with them to where I'm like, are you kidding? And so actually for me, I update my will every 2 years. And it's one thing on there that I kind of have, when I change it, I leave out. But my daughter say, don't leave that out. Don't leave none out. I don't want to do nothing but sign documents. And that's what I prefer for people to do. Come sign that document so you can grieve. Be taken care of financially. Won't nobody have time to, do nothing but grieve. Sign that paper, set the date, this. And the one thing is, the only thing is I haven't picked my casket yet.
One thing that I want to throw out there too that I did not really recognize, because this was the first time that we had to really take this level of participation in someone's death and passing, our mother, is that the tomb headstone, can't be placed right away, that the ground has to settle. So our grieving process literally got stretched out a year because COVID was still kind of around. Things were backed up. So they had to get it made and get it shipped from wherever it's coming to there to get it. The ground had to settle for a certain period of time. So it was a year before our mother's headstone was placed. And so stuff like that, people don't even think about and have understanding those kind of things prolong the grieving process. And then when you fighting and stuff like Sister Carolyn is talking about, and you going through all that extra drama, you're not grieving because you're too busy getting entangled in the drama and all the stuff that's going on. Then when stuff starts finally clearing up, and it may take months, then you actually start grieving. So your grieving process gets extended 3, 4, 5, 6 years out because of all this foolishness.
Or you go through it even worse, or you start getting depressed, or you start getting so emotional. Families not talking any longer to each other, because she did this or he did that. And there was mama wishes. I knew mama wishes. Mama should have had her wishes written down.
How legally ironclad, and I already know the answer, but I want people to hear you say it. How ironclad on a legal foundation are these documents? Can somebody just randomly come in and be like, but I'm his son?
They do that.
They could try, right? They could try, right? But
girl,
yeah,
that's
but that ain't gonna change what's been written down, is it?
It don't hold nothing.
It don't hold no water.
It don't none. It only holds water to the family and
to the
how
family.
They view it.
Oh, girl, go on, say that again. So it don't really hold no power legally in terms of what's gonna happen, and it ain't gonna change nothing on what's really gonna happen and go down and how things are gonna be arranged. They can have all the love and sympathy and buts that they want, but when it's written down, you talking about stuff that's ironclad legally. Then
I asked first. Most people don't. I don't really know, but from what I've experienced, ask first. So who's the next of kin? Well, who's the next of kin over at the funeral home? Is that the same person was the power of attorney or doable power of attorney or the person, the representative, even though those things end at death? So I'm your power of attorney before you pass, Brother James. But when you pass, it actually is the next of who's the next of kin. So now where's the will? Is it in the trust?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I got you. I see what you're saying.
You might be the oldest son and mama put you in charge of everything, but where does it say that at?
Because in the documents.
She got little JoJo down the street. Or, he's the person that after I die, James is no more the power of attorney. He's the actual next of kin. He's the executor. He's the person in charge.
If he's named.
Yeah. Named. If it's named. If it's not named, that's when you go back to the,
to the documents. Okay. Oh my. Okay, I see. Oh Lord.
So it don't take that long. And I'll talk about the people in Flint, Michigan. Y'all know y'all worked for General Motors. Use those benefits. Right.
Come on. Come on.
Go take advantage of that. You paid your dues, your dues, or whatever kind of dues. Get off of your book tootie and go take care of and have them to help you write a will. There are some senior citizens places. They give you 15 minutes with a lawyer. Call that senior citizen area in your, whether it's Haskell, Hasselbreen, whether it's Clio senior citizen. They will advise you, whether it's Mount Morris, they will advise you to a lawyer and you'll get 15 minutes. But you better have some those questions that you need to ask.
Sorry, we got bumped off for a little bit, but I got us right back on.
Okay.
So we're still going. Yep.
Yeah. So I know we got to cut this short and we can come back. But
no, we good. We good. You good.
We got all these places here in Genesee County that service you. They even got some COVID money left somewhere.
So hold on. Yep, there you go. Yep, keep going. Yep.
Start Googling who has these funds that'll help you with when you're not here, your afterlife. Those are going to be responsible. Those are going to be in position. Those are going to be in place. Do something. Don't come see me. I want you to do something than do nothing. And then I don't want you to take the information that I'm giving you and then do nothing. I want you to put some kind of perspective on this, because this is what you leave behind. Saying some people don't give one flip flop.
Yeah. They
say, well, let them fight. Some people like that.
Wow. I know. I've heard people say that, which is like it's stupid. It's just straight crazy to me. Like you like, well, they'll figure it out. I ain't gonna be here anyway. They're like, what kind of philosophy is that?
Yes.
And especially when I hear Christian people saying that just makes no sense to me.
Yes.
Well, you just literally going to just say, well, they'll figure it out, and you have no plan.
Like the little boy on was it Home Alone? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
And I'm like,
so I want to clarify something because I want to make sure I heard it right. Because sometimes I think if I didn't hear it right, maybe somebody else didn't hear it. So if you don't have any documents, they tend to start looking for the next of kin, sounds like, or whatever, right? But let's just say you got your documents, everything in order. You don't necessarily have to name the next of kin, the person that we would say, well, where's the next of kin? You don't necessarily have, you can name whoever you want to name in your documents.
You can name whoever you want to be that next of kin. You can
right.
Be June down the street.
Got you. So you're naming the next of kin.
Wheel, I'm left out.
Got you.
Because I've seen, I'm thinking about one of the ones that I saw laugh because it was he lived long enough. He was in his 90s and he had 5 generations.
Oh my.
So he only listed part of the 3 generations. He listed who he wanted to do stuff, who he didn't want to do stuff. He didn't need some, and I've seen the one with a blended family.
Wow.
Look, y'all, take care of this stuff before something happens.
Oh my.
Because just because my kids is his kids and his kids are my kids. Okay. Now all of the truths are not bad, but the ones that are, try to rectify this before something happens. No, we don't know how that person is going to act. We don't know what that person is going to do. But if you can possibly take care of these things before something happens, do that. I mean, how hard is it to, like I said, if you work for GM, or if you're a teacher, or if you work for the city, or you work for any government position or something like that, you have access to these things because you're paying dues or you're paying to be a part of this. And if you don't, and if you're older, say you lived on a minimal income every year, minuscule even, go to some of these places and simply ask, hey, can you refer me to an organization that may do this, that, and the other? Can you refer me to an organization? Say your parents worked for GM, say, hey, Dad, can I come with you so I can at least get some information about what's going to happen or take place, or how I can get this done for myself?
Yes.
Something. It's there. We just got to figure out. My position that I love is giving you the tools to ask about this. I may not say go see Miss Curtis, or I may not say go see Mr. Mosley, but I'm going to tell you, go see somebody.
Right. You do have some resources where you could point them in the direction of.
And it's up to you if you want to, take advantage of that. So yikes. Maybe we should probably close this out and talk about, have another format. But
I know it.
The first thing I do, if you come sit in my chair, I'm going to talk to you. And I talk to families. I have meetings where I talk to the entire family at one time.
This conversation has been so enlightening. And I knew it was necessary. That's why I contacted you a few weeks back. Was like, yo, Carolyn, we need to get together and talk about, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. And you was like, well, I can wing it. You don't have to necessarily go through all the specific questions or whatever you're going to ask. And that's what I wanted, to keep it authentic, where you could really just share from your heart. Because one thing that I believe many people are missing is someone telling them something, giving them some advice with no ulterior motives in the back, that's lingering in there. And that's what Man's podcast is. We want to just be a resource to provide some information. And the financial literacy, the scope of financial literacy is so broad based and so wide. It covers everything from insurance to, we talk about building wealth. There's so many different components to that. And now we're talking about what happens when you die and being prepared, and just certain myth, like, that word I'm trying to say, myths and things that we have about people that, have money. And we just think that only rich people should make plans. No, you should make a plan right now. You should literally, after you finish listening to this, you should tomorrow start inquiring on how you can make sure that you got your stuff in order, because a part of your legacy and your name is how people conduct themselves when you're not here.
Oh,
And if folk acting a jack-legged hound dog fool, is that your legacy? Is that your legacy? Is that how you want people to represent your legacy and your name? Oh no. Oh no. Look here. When I finally leave up out of here, my financial guy's gonna get on the phone. He gonna dial the numbers. He got everybody's number. He got everybody's social security number. He got everybody's information right down to everybody. They get a call. It's going to be a Zoom call or whatever it's going to be. He's going to tell them, your dad set this up. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Now, who's in charge of this? Who's in charge of that? The house is going to be sold. This is going to happen. Everything is stipulated and named and spelled out. And so I wanted to make sure that my wishes are carried out in order to continue building the legacy that I'm on here to. Look, I ain't just talking. If I'm saying these things, is because personally I feel it's important, and personally I'm doing it. That's why we recommended it. That's why we brought Carolyn on, because you need to make sure that when you're not here, if you want to build generational wealth, you got to have a plan to pass it to the next generation for them to continue on building it.
If they want to.
If they want to.
Some
but
don't.
Here's the thing. On my plan, they ain't going to have no choice. My plan is set where it says this is going to happen. There's a certain amount of money that's going to continue to be invested. My plan includes passing a financial benefit to the fourth generation of my family.
Oh my! Now that's some planning right there, and that's when you say generational wealth, and then that's when that fourth generation money becomes old money.
Yes,
that money that they now it's I can spend it now. It's
the plan is my money's going to be growing, and it's going to be at work to give an inheritance to the fourth generation of my family. Now I'm telling y'all, I'm trying to hope you. I keep telling y'all that I'm trying to hope you. That's what the old folks say.
Now, because I've only been thinking about my my children, but now I need to go further than that. Well, now I think about my one granddaughter, so I have something building up for her. But now I need to go even further, because I hadn't got that. You want generation after generation after generation.
Yeah. But then, I don't want my kids to blow it all, and I don't want my grandkids to blow it all. That would defeat the purpose. If we're talking about building generational wealth. It means just that. It means more than just you and your kids. You got to think about your grandkids. You got to think about an unborn generation that's not even here yet. Come on, somebody. I'm talking better than y'all saying amen. And I'm talking better than y'all pushing that like button. Y'all need to be pressing that like button and the heart button. I'm talking better than the heart button getting pushed. You got to have a plan. And it gets me when it's like we walk around with just like goofy, like we just living in some movie scene, like life is a movie, and at some time the end of the credits gonna run, and then everything's gonna just be wonderful, and it's gonna be a series of part 2. I ain't coming back. When I'm gone, I'm gone. Yeah. I ain't coming back to do a redo to try to get it right the next time around. Come on, folks, you got one time to get this right. You got one time to get this right. So why wouldn't you want to go and sit down and talk to a professional like Sister Carolyn? If you don't know anybody, am I correct in saying every funeral home has these resources that you can talk to somebody about before you get to that place?
Definitely. Yeah. And then if you don't want to deal with a funeral home or a cemetery at all, I still do those consultations. I still do private consultations.
Yes.
Some people say, I don't want to set foot in the funeral home because I think I'm going to die. I don't want to set foot in the cemetery because I think I'm going to die. They're myths. But guess what? I do private consultations. I have an office right here that we go to, and we just talk about that.
With that in mind, if you live in the state of Michigan, right? Because you can help anybody in Michigan, right? You can even provide you can provide some level of service to people that don't live in Michigan. Am I correct?
That's what Zoom, FaceTime, Duo. People meet. I do it. I do it anywhere. As long as you got video like this, we good.
So this is what we're gonna do. Make sure that when we're done with this, can you drop your contact information down in the comment section?
Sure.
That where people can contact you, as well as go ahead and even say it now. Tell everybody how they can reach you, no matter what in the United States you live, if you need to begin to put some things in motion. Come on now, talk to
Okay.
me.
My name is Carolyn Witcher. I
Spell
am a
it for him. Spell it
service
for him.
WITCHER, Carolyn Witcher. My contact number is 810-869-8351. I would love to prompt you to get some things in order. And I want to be able to talk about everything from the basic minuscules, whether you do make minimum wage, and to even if you're a millionaire. Sometimes you just have to put things in order, or put things out on the table. And just because you're rich don't mean you're smart. So let's do some things where we can just talk about some things. And just because I'm not a millionaire don't mean I don't know a little nothing either. But
Oh my
we're gonna
God.
just talk about some things, put things out in the open, and talk about some things you probably never thought of. And so that's what I like to do. That's what I like to do. I could do it near, I could do it far. And if you don't want to set foot in a funeral home or in a cemetery, I do private consultations where we're not on there. We could do it here in my office. My office is 3106 West Pasadena Avenue, Flint, Michigan 48504. And that's by appointment only.
Appointment only.
Appointments only. Now, if you
So
walk
call
in
her at the phone number.
job and stuff like that, if I have some time, then I'll discuss it. But I prefer, because this is our conversations can last anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. And if you want me to do the entire family, that's going to take about 2 hours. And I can meet everybody at once. I have enough room where I could talk to everybody at one time. And then I could also do generations. I could talk to the mom, I could talk to the children, and I could talk to the grandchildren all at once.
All at once.
It could be private, or it could be, out in the open. Then I have some information and resources, whether you have children and no children, when you're married and not married. I want to put some tidbits in your ear. Once I put some tidbits in your ear, that'll make you react.
So one more time, drop your phone number in there again.
810-869-8351.
And you've been doing this since 2013.
Yep.
So you got a lot of families that you've talked with over the years, and you got a lot of different scenarios and different methods and plans that you can help people that's specific to their particular needs for their family.
Yes. Or 810-686-3660 as well.
Okay. Or that number as well.
Yep.
So, Miss Carolyn, before we wrap things up, do you have anything that's burning in your heart that you like, oh, I forgot to say? Because, I did guide us through the conversation, on the topics, but is there something that you want to drop?
I had a client came in the other day. I've been knowing her for years and years and years, but sometimes you have people say, oh, I don't think I'm feeling her like that, because you ain't got to feel me like that. But I put it out there. But I told her, I said, you know what? I have been asking her this for about 2 years. I said, you know what? Why don't you bring me your insurance policies? I'm not a licensed insurance agent, but let's read them together. Let's read them together. Tell you what you need, what you don't need. Because I had a young man, and this happened a lot through COVID, where you had accidental insurance, it didn't cover nothing.
Right.
But then I also can tell you the benefit of having accidental insurance, which don't mean much, but it's something. So, and then you need to know the difference between term, whole, accident, mortgage insurance. You need to know all these things. So you need to call me.
Yes.
You need to make an appointment with me.
And I'm not sure if at some point I'm going to talk about some of those things in terms of some policies that's set up with an annuity component to them, or some with just only a death benefit, or even there's a strategy that you could use insurance to help to pass generational wealth in a tax deferred way to your generation. So there's strategies and things that I'm not sure if we're going to really get into that as much, because I think one thing people need to begin to do is just get started. So many people just need to start, and they haven't even started.
And that's what I'm for. I just want to get you started.
Yes.
I don't want to take over.
I just want to get you started, and to provide you with the resources that you need so that you can make some really good, wise, and comprehensive decisions. So decisions that cover every base, so that when you're not here, because when you ain't here, you can't control nothing. And some people like to control stuff. That's why they don't make plans. But when you ain't here, your level of control is gone. So you need to, if you want to preserve your legacy, Do it while you're alive, because when you ain't here, you don't have no say so in what's going on. And just because you think that you got, I built a business and I done accumulated wealth. I'm in the top 8% of all Americans, and just like Sis Carolyn said, just because you're rich don't mean you're smart.
Yeah, definitely.
So take care of your business. That's what we're here for, to hope you. We're here to hope you. You ever heard the old folks say that? From, I know you got rooted down from Mississippi.
Still say it.
Why do they say hope? Like, that ain't even the right word.
Because they hoping they can help you.
Oh my God, Sis Carolyn, thank you so much. I really appreciate you more than you understand, and about you coming on today. And hey, hit me up. It's been a while since I came on your broadcast. If you need me to come and get on and do something else, or I'd be more than willing to do that. But thank you so much for joining. Hey, once again, y'all press that like button.
Have me back so I can talk about.
We're gonna have you back. We're gonna have you back. We're gonna have you back. We're gonna have you coming back. You coming back.
God bless you all.
If you are watching via YouTube, make sure that you press the subscribe button, press the notification bell so you get notified when we upload new videos and stuff like that. Press the thumbs up, like button, drop some comments in the comment section. If you're watching via Facebook, live streaming, press that heart button. Come on, show your brother and Sister Carolyn some love. Press the thumbs up. If you press that anger emoji, will you at least drop some comments and tell me why? And also make sure you're sharing these videos. People need this information. They need to have this conversation. Share this video. It helps with the algorithm and begins to build the content and get it out there more. But thanks for watching the Working People's Podcast. And guess what? We out.